Welcome to the faculty training for Covered California, and thank you in advance for agreeing to be part of this initiative. My name is Cynthia Keir. I'm Senior Vice President at the California Academy of Family Physicians, and my job is to be involved with all matters relating to education. For this particular grant, 4 partners came together, and you can see them here. No doubt your association is listed, with the express purpose of submitting a grant so that we can provide education to these members of these organizations. This initiative is supported by the Covered California, and this grant runs for 16 months. What I'd like to cover today are really all the matters relating to the faculty training materials. So in this session, we're going to discuss the grant overview, conflict of interest disclosure, the Covered California policy statement, a really critical piece of this training, organizational contacts, so if you'll know who to call for questions if you have any, education in a box, all the key components, and then how you can actually see somebody working with the slides. So how is it that we came to have this grant? The 4 organizations created a survey and sent it out to our collective membership of about a representative sample of about 1,000. And when we queried them as to how knowledgeable would you say you are about Covered California, only 16.4% said that they were very knowledgeable, as opposed to the question we then asked, which is how knowledgeable would you like to be? And 62.4% said they would like to be highly knowledgeable. As you can see on the other side of this slide, we asked a similar question about their staff with similar results. So clearly between where your colleagues and their office staff knowledge base is relative to Covered California and where they would like it to be, there's a sizable gap. And that's why we put together this grant, and that's why we're providing this education to help inform your colleagues, our members, and their office staffs so that they can help direct their patients to appropriate resources for the Affordable Care Act here in California. As a result of this survey, when we asked, how would you like to be educated about Covered California, these were their responses. And so our own educational design includes a mix of all of these activities. You'll be involved with, for the most part, presenting at live activities, but we're also providing this information via webinar and posters, collateral material, other formats as well. As accredited CME-CE providers, we require that all of our planners, speakers, faculty, and staff complete a conflict of interest declaration. All disclosure forms are then reviewed to ensure that any potential conflicts are identified and resolved in a timely fashion. And that is the purpose for asking you to fill out a conflict of interest form. It's an online activity. You'll see it here at this link. You can visit it. We guarantee you it will only take a couple of minutes, and we thank you in advance for providing this information to us. What's going to be very important in your activity is to be sure that you read the Covered California policy statement. This statement must be read before each live presentation. And what this statement allows us to do is very clearly articulate to the learners that there is a firewall that exists between the education that we're presenting to them at whatever live setting you'll be in, and a firewall between that education and that information versus some of the questions that are going to arise as a result of their legitimate concerns as to how the policies around Covered California affect their daily practice. You, as a presenting faculty member, can really only address those issues relating to education and knowledge about Covered California. At the California Academy of Family Physicians, for an example, what we're doing is we're sending out a faculty member as well as a staff person. And when questions arise from the audience, how will this impact my payment? What do I do about patients who want to find me in the Covered California directory? Those are not questions that you can answer, but we're providing the staff to answer them for those learners in the audience. Please consult with your organization to find out what they recommend in terms of how you answer these questions. So I'm just going to read this statement. I apologize, it's not very exciting, but it is important. Covered California awarded CAFP and its partners an outreach and education grant in the amount of $865,000. The goal of the grant is to help inform physician assistants, and medical practice staff about health care coverage available to patients and their family members as part of a national health care reform. Through educating our members and encouraging them to educate their patients, our organizations aim to increase the number of Californians with health care coverage. CAFP continues to advocate for physician assistants with the Covered California staff and board and with Covered California health plans. We encourage our members to contact us when they experience problems with the exchange or in contracting with health plans offered through the exchange. We urge your continued reliance on and participation in our legislative activities. It is essential that we keep these two organizational roles separate to avoid a conflict of interest. Today, I am speaking to you as faculty supported by the Covered California Provider Outreach and Education Grant. If you have any concerns about Covered California or the Covered California health plans, for example, concerns about your contracts and health plans, I urge you to speak with staff at this event or contact the proper organization, and I, as the faculty here, am happy to provide you with that contact information. So that, in essence, is the statement that we request. In fact, it's mandated that this be read before every activity. Here's a list of the organizational contacts. Leah Newkirk, who's Vice President of Health Policy here at the CAFP, is the best person to contact with any questions relating to policy. I am happy to answer any and all questions relating to education, educational content. If you have questions that relate more to policies about your organizations, please contact Kathleen Creason for the Osteopathic Physician Surgeons of California, Teresa Anderson for the California Academy of Physician Assistants, and Ashley Ruby for the California chapter of the American College of Physicians. So what I primarily want to do is just familiarize you with the primary educational tool, which we're calling Education in a Box. And I'd like to make you a little bit more familiar with its key components. The most important component are the slides that we have created for these live learning activities. Ask your staff for a copy of the slides. They know where the most current slide set is kept, and they can give that slide set to you. We ask that you adhere to that slide set and do not deviate, again, for reasons of policy and making sure that we're in full compliance with no conflict of interest. In the Education in a Box, which will be provided to you, this, by the way, will be provided to you as a PDF, the information I'm covering, called Faculty Training Material, and you'll see samples of all of this. But in this Education in a Box, you will also see a sample faculty contract, a sample evaluation form. We really appreciate you making sure that the learners know about the evaluation form and provide us feedback so that we can engage in a process of continuous assessment to make sure that the information and the education we're providing is really helpful to them. We're also providing in the faculty training materials frequently asked questions. CAFP has generated one set. There are additional sets available through CMA as well as through Covered California, and we can direct you to those resources. And finally, there are sample collateral materials from Covered California in English as well as available through in multiple languages available when you go to their site and download them. The website itself is only available in English and Spanish. And we have PDFs on questions that are often asked: how to find your doctor, and then how to find a plan. To view these slides in action, Dr. Mark Dresner presented a webinar that we captured. And if you go to this link, www.familydocs.org/covered-California, you'll be able to see Dr. Dresner presenting an overview of the very same slides that you will be presenting. And you can get a feel for the important points that he brings out, as well as just, how it looks and how it sounds in action. It's a great way to familiarize yourself with it. Only takes about 30 minutes. So that winds up this very brief session on faculty training. It is intended that this particular session, in conjunction with viewing Dr. Dresner's slides, will provide you with a 360 for faculty training. If you have any questions beyond what this information is that we're trying to impart to you, please feel free again to contact the people directly at your organization. Feel free to contact me or Leah Newkirk. And again, we just want to thank you for participating in this initiative. We think it's really important to help our patients find ways to have full health coverage, and we appreciate your efforts on behalf of that larger goal. Here's my email. Look forward to hearing from you. Thank you again.